Today we're going to share the introduction of working permit and resident and the permanent resident application in US, uh, which is Dr. Shawn Wang is going to share his experience in, we call it H-1B and green card application. So Dr. Shawn Wang, also known as Shawn Wang, graduated from the National Cheng Kung University in 2001 and earned his PhD degree from University of Washington in 2013. Before he moved to US, actually he worked for the Taiwan High-Speed Rail project several years. And later, when he is in the University of Washington, he focused on steel truss bridges. After graduation, he worked for Buckland and Taylor, also known as COWI, and worked on several long-span bridges such as the New York Tappan Zee Cable Stay Bridge, West Virginia Wellsburg Network Tie Arch Bridge, and various types of bridges. He has been working on more than 15 bridges over the United States and Canada. He currently works in a small company funded by his previous colleague on a very niche bridge market. He has professional engineer license in both in Taiwan and then in US, California. And then also he owns a structural engineer license here in the United States. And actually, he's breaking that, and this is true. He is the first person in COWI to be sponsored for applying for H-1B and the green card. So he has the first-hand, very new experience that can share with everyone, and then you can ask questions about that. So without further ado, let's welcome Shawn Wang to share his experience.
Yeah, welcome everyone to share your story. I think everyone you study or work abroad have all very exciting story to share. So I will be more than happy to hear your story here. So let's get started talking about my experience about working in the US. You need a valid visa to working in the US. So in the US, you basically have a few options. There is many temporary or permanent working visa. Today we are talking H-1B is basically a temporary working visa, and the green card is also called a permanent residential working visa. So you have some option to use this visa. As a student, you can use OPT. As an employee, you can use H-1B. Another two pretty common visa is intra-company, we call L1 visa, and the exchange profession called the J1 visa. So we will focus on first two, but we will also talking about the other two working visa. So OPT, the full name is called Optional Practical Training. You must complete the first academic year in the US. You can employ it before the graduation or like during the annual vacation, like summer or winter vacation. You can have this training on a practical training visa, or you can basically suspend your school for a year and you use leave last term, and you can use this visa to work for a company, or even you can use this OPT after graduation. I think this is most common way people use the OPT after you graduate. You have 12 months to work in the US with this visa. And if you are the four main category, we call the STEM, the science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. You are allowed to extend 17 months. So that's give you a total 29 months to work in the US. Since 2016, this 17 months extend to 24 months. So you basically have 36 months to work in the US after you graduate. This is a good and bad option, because the good, you don't need to apply the H-1B or you don't need a green card to work here for 3 years. But it's also because you have this working visa, some employer probably won't give you start your H-1B or start your green card process earlier. So they will rather you use up these 3 years, then they consider to start doing the H-1B or green card. So it's this OPT, you don't need to require any relationship to your major, but you need report to your school about your employment status every 6 months. This is one very good benefit for students graduate because they don't need to relate to your major. How we heard, like some people at 2007, 2008, when the financial recession, they cannot find their job related to their work. So they probably just do some volunteer for community college or some library or even some nonprofit organization. You still have a valid visa to working here. Then until the economy come back and then they find their job in their major. So this is a good benefit. If there's some accident, you can still keep your visa and legally work in the US. The other option is called the CPT. It's called the curriculum practice training. The first one this need to use before you graduating. So that means you can work on the summer or winter vacation. And this is need to be part of the curriculum, and you need to receive course credit. So this is more strict visa for use. Like they basically limit you have to working related to your major, and this is the school need to know establish a relationship with your employer. And this can be the part-time or full-time, but if you use the full-time up to 12 months, you will deduct this 12 months from your OPT after you graduate. So be careful to apply the CPT. It's not a very complicated rule, but it's just some restriction and some impact in your future for the OPT use. Another pretty common one is called the intra-company transfer. This is as I know, some of my friends, they work in Taiwan for like electronics company, and they use this intra-company transfer to work in the US. Then from there, they start to apply the H-1B or they start from the green card. So this is a very good opportunity. You don't need to go through a very long process like you study in the US, get a degree, and apply the H-1B. You can just work in the Taiwan's company or other foreign company and request they transfer you to the US. There's a two level. One is level for the executives, managers, and employee with a very specialized skill to transfer from a foreign company to a US. The only limit is you can change the job, but you need to only allow within the same company, different branch or affiliated company. So the L1, there's a two level. They call the L1A. This is more for the executive and the managers, like high level managers. So you can use L1 to working for 3 years plus another 2-year extension, so that you can work for totally 7 years. Another level is called L1B. It is about 5 years. It's just the same. It's 3 years, the first term plus 2 year, 1 extension. Then you can from the L1A or L1B to adjust your status to the permanent residence. So L1 is it's an immigration intent visa. Means you can use this visa to transfer to adjust your status, become the permanent resident. The second one is called a J1. It's also, you can directly come from the foreign country to work in the US. J1 visa is an exchange visitor program that allows non-US citizens to visit the United States to exchange skill or experience or knowledge in different area and for work and study. Some restriction, including the limit of work hour, and you probably only can work on the campus. This is not an immigration intent visa, so you can directly apply permanent residence visa like green card directly. But there is always some way. Some of my friends, they come here to use a J1 visa. They work for the campus, do some research. Then after a few years, they decide, oh yeah, I want to pursue the green card. The first one, you just need a waiver. Tell the custom or the USCIS say, yeah, I don't intend to apply green card in the beginning, but now I changed my mind. I want to try to stay here. That's okay. So it's just one more process you need to do to transfer to use a J1 visa to the green card, toward the green card path. So now we back to our two focus topic. One is H1B. I think this is quite common. After you get the OPT, you use up to several years. Then it's time to use thinking about apply H1B. H1B is a employee based working visa. So you need working for some company. The applier is your employer. So you cannot apply H1B yourself. You need to have a sponsor. The requirements is quite minimal. You just need at least a bachelor degree or above. So there is a new rule started 2020. So it's quite easy now. So you just need to register electronically. That's about $10 cost. So you just register, then they will do the randomly select. So the H1B limit usually we call is 65,000 plus 20,000. The 65,000 is for the people with a bachelor degree. If you have an advanced degree, it means you have a master or you have a PhD. There is another pool for 20,000. The code for H1B visa. So once you register and you get picked, the next step is you submit the LCA. LCA is a labor certificate. That's tell you get approved from labor certificate. The H1B you need, there is some criteria, like your salary need to be comparable to your peer. Like you cannot get a lower salary, so just to compete with the US citizen. So you need to have a certain benefits and certain wage level. So the first one is you apply for LCA, labor certificate, to get approved. That's your position, your employee, your qualification, and your wage. It's all meet the requirements. Then once you get approved from the labor department, you need to display your LCA in the company for 10 days. Just let your company, all the staff know, you are here and everything is qualified, your wage and your position is exactly the same as mentioned in the labor certificate. So after this labor certificate approved, then the employer can apply H1B through the USCIS for the employee. So usually, So usually it's the start date for the H1B application is April 1st. That is 180 days before the fiscal year. In the US, the fiscal year starts as October 1st. Then H1B is 2 years effective. You can apply for the two extension. So that's totally, you have a 6-year H1B. Usually people start working the H1B, then on the H1B visa and start to apply the green card. H1B is as we say, is immigration intent visa. So you can start doing the green card application when you're on H1B status, but you cannot do the green card at the OPT because that's not the immigration intended visa. So green card have the full name is a permanent residence visa. We call it green card because that's the color is green if you receive that one. So you can get a green card through the family. Usually that takes maybe 7 to 10 years. Another one is called a diversity visa program. And the next one is a green card through the employment. That's H1B, or there is several category. So diversity visa program, I want to touch base about this one. When I was students, every year about October, you can put your name in through the USCIS website, and they select a certain amount of people based on your country, based on your region. I think we submit at least 5 years, and we don't get luck with that. But we do have several friends come to US through this diversity visa program. But myself is through the working visa. So the working visa have 3 category. We call the EB1, EB2, and EB3. So these 3 category, the EB1 is for the priority workers. This typically give people very outstanding, like extraordinary ability in science, arts. Like if you are like an Olympic medal winner, you can apply the EB1. Or one of my friends in Taiwan is a surgeon, and it's a pretty high level in the hospital, and he have many publication. I think he applied EB1, but the time EB1 and EB2, sometimes EB1 is much faster, but depend on how many people apply EB1. It's not necessary the timeline is shorter than EB2. And EB2 is for the aliens, more like for the professional field, like a civil engineer, electronic engineer, or mechanical engineer, or like you are the assistant professor in the school, something like this professional organization or professional category. We apply EB2. EB3 is more for the skilled worker. This maybe like you work at restaurants for a famous chef, or you are the artist, or you are the musician, you're working as a teacher, or some kind of this the category, or sometimes this profession. So the green card, the phase, there's a several phase to apply for the application. We basically can separate to the three big steps. So the first one we call the PERM, the Program Electronic Review Management. This including the several steps. The second one is called the I-140. It's an immigrant application. This is an immigration application, the real main procedure. Then the next one is the change status. Once your immigration application approved, then you change your status from maybe you are the L1 or maybe you are H1, then change to the green card status. So the first stage takes a long time. Most of the time is on the first stage. You need the PERM. There is several things you need to do. Okay, you need to form application for preliminary wage. This is similar to the H1B. You need to get approved by the labor department that your salary, your wage, your qualification, and your position, it's all on the category that's there is some like baseline how much your position need to be paid, and how what is your qualification for this position. So labor department will approve, say yes, your working position is comply with the requirement. So this is basically protect the U.S. citizen not being take the job from the U.S. citizen, but the job is needed because they don't find the qualified the U.S. citizen. So in that LCA, there will be some job description, the job offer. Then you need to document that you're supporting the qualification, like why they need to create this position for you. You need some specialty, like your education and work experience, and also everything the past the visa document. You need to including this LCA application. Once your LCA get approved, that means this position is the U.S. needs. So you don't rob the U.S. citizen. Then you go into the next phase. They call the recruitment. So recruitment is advertising this position for 2 months, and there's no one apply this job, or there's no one qualified. So then you can close this recruitment process. And this time is basically we call the cooling period. This is working between the company and the attorney. So at this time, the attorney and company won't reveal you any detail, because they cannot tell you if there's someone apply this job or if they are qualified. So this is basically the work between the attorney and the company. The company's HR. So there is a few things you need to do. You need advertising, maybe in some website like LinkedIn or Glassdoor, or you need some internal posts like this position inside the company. There's no one come to apply this position. So minimum is 2 months. If someone apply this position and they are not qualified, that's okay, but they need another 6 months to repost this position. Usually this will take quite a bit of time. Once the recruitment done, you document all this process, then you can submit the ETA 9089. This is an application for the permanent employment application. So you basically collect the previous approved information and submit the formal form to the Labor Department, and this will expect 4 to 6 months to get approved. So all this process we call the perm. Once the perm is approved, then you can enter the real process to apply for the immigration status. So this portion, the I-140, is submitted to the USCIS, is a U.S. Custom like immigration department. So you need your personal signature. This one cannot be done by the electronic. You need to send the physical signature. You need some your employer supporting letter, and you need all the approved notice from all the previous one, including your F1, OPT, H1B, all this approved visa status. You have prepared your resume, experience letter from all the previous employee. Even you are working in the school as a research assistant, you need a experience letter from the professor, and all the education certificates, including in Taiwan or in the original country and in the US. And all this one need to be translated to US and need to be notarized. And you also need a 2 period, the pay stats. Make sure you pay as you say on the application. So once the immigration status approved, then the next one is the most easy one is change your status. So change your status, again, you need to submit a lot of stuff. In this stage is basically try to approve your personal. So you need your birth certificate, marriage certificate if you are married, your military certificate, and all these things. Like this basically try to check your personal, your background check, make sure you don't have the crime record, and you followed all the rule, and you're a good person. So the change status is more to check your all the background. And at this time, you also need to submit your medical examination and vaccination record. So just your personal from your history. So the last portion we were talking about is about how you expect your timeline for the process. So start as a preparation, as we say, the LCA labor certificate. It will be about the 3 months. So the yellow row, I highlight yellow is a time in the U.S. government. The background is the gray line, gray color is your preparation time. So as my experience, my preparation LCA is about 4 months, and submit to the labor department. We will expect 3 months, but we take about like 4.5 months. Then once this LCA approved, we come back to prepare recruitment and prepare the submit the 9089 form. That's totally about we spend 6 months. Then we submitted this one to the labor department. It's take about 4 to 6 months, and we actually about 5 months get approved. Then we submit the 140 and 485 at the same time. I-140 you need to submit up inside 180 days, like 6 months after your perm approved. So pay attention to this time. We thought we will have a lot of time to prepare the I-140, but we actually almost use up all the time, the 6 months. I remember we submitted our I-140 just like 5 or 6 days before expire. Once this expire, you need to from the beginning do again. So be careful the time. The time goes really fast. It's and the staff, the material you need to prepare is more than you think. So once submit the I-140, we submitted I-140 and I-485 at the same time, basically immigration's application and the change status at the same time. So it's expect about the 6 months. During the middle, we actually switch to the premium process. So that's another thing to consider when you apply this process. Do you want to use a premium process? Premium process will cost maybe additional $2,000, but it will reduce the time from 6 months to 2 weeks calendar day. So during this time, we actually submit the H1B for renewal because we don't think we can get a green card before my first H1B expire. And the interesting is during this time I get a layoff. It's very unexpected. No one really expected this one. Even my boss, we all think we are okay because every document is already submitted and all the lawyer fee and everything is done. We're just waiting for get approved. So this is kind of interesting experience. So at that time, there's two important things. One, find your next employer. The second one, what the status you need to do. So we talked with several lawyers and we hired one attorney. She is very comprehensive and she helped a lot. So we prepared they call the I-485J, just change the company. And the interesting one is when you apply the green card, that's a kind of mutual promise between you and your employer. Your employer want to hire with you for permanent. I mean, we say the permanent, but it's not really permanent, but the intention is permanent, hire you. And you are intention to permanently working for this employer. So this is like a mutual agreement. But when something accident happen, like economy getting bad, they have to let you go, or they don't have enough job, or you want to change the company, that's okay. The immigration law allow you to change the company after the 180 days. So like 6 months after you submit your I-140. So I submitted the I-140 on May, and so that means I need to stay in the company unless November. And luckily, I have enough job, so I actually stay until the middle of November, then switch to the new company. That's a very tricky thing. And the thing later on, there is something delayed, like government shutdown. That's on the if you guys remember in 2018, the Trump on the position president, then there is some argue between the Congress. So let's get some shut down the government for another 2 months. So finally, we get an interview and waiting about like 1 month, then we got an interview result. So at the end, the whole process, I spent about 3 years. The first timeline, what I heard from my friends, if you get everything pretty smooth, you can get the green card in 2 years. Some people get longer, but some people shorter. I think 2 years is almost like the quickest time I heard about. So what I learned from here is, one, find a good attorney. I think this is important. As I'm the first one apply H-1B and green card in my company, so there are not many people understand the process. So we have a lot of discussion, like how we do this, how we prepare this document, and the attorney sometimes is helpful, sometimes it's not, because that's they are hired by the company, so they basically stand with company. They don't want you get a green card too quick, so then you can leave the company to other company. So find a good attorney. If you can negotiate the company, you hire your own attorney, that will be great, but it's not always you can do this. The other one is choice to do the expedited process. So in the beginning, we don't choose this one because we don't want to make a company feel, yeah, this guy want to get a visa or they could get a green card and leave the company to other company to find a better pay or some reason, or move to other place. So in the beginning, I didn't choose the expedited process. But then because the layoff thing, and we all agree that we should do this quicker to get everything finished. So then we switch to the premium process. The third one is always keep a good relationship with your the employer or your sponsor. I mean, even I get a layoff, but I'm still very busy. I stay in the company for this 180 days. It's hard because you don't know what the future will be. But if you don't keep the good relationship with your sponsor, they can withdraw your application. They can basically destroy your application, and you need to start from the beginning. So my company still sponsor me, even they let me go, but they helped me to finish all the process to carry on to the next company. So the other is more like a general thing, is to understand the trend, especially the economies and the politics. Like at my time, we got delayed because the government shut down, and because we got some delay because new requirement, like an interview. Like 2 years ago, there is no interview requirement when you're change status. Like for 85 approved, you get your green card. But we need to wait another 2 months for interview and the interview result. And always prepare on expected incident. This is very interesting because we think another 6 months we will finish the process. Then the layoff hit. We take another 8 months to finish the final process. Okay, I think it is almost the time. Hopefully not too boring to everyone. And if you have a question or you want to share your experience, I know it's a very interesting process for everyone try to working and study abroad. You are very, very welcome to share your story.
All right, thank you, Shawn. Very wonderful experience that. And so currently, there are 4 questions asked in the chat box. So I'll probably start the first one, and then everyone, the audience, if you have any more questions, you can type in the chat box. So I'll go in sequence. So the first question is asked by Eric Zhang. His question is, what's different between L1A, L1B compared to EB1A and EB1B?
So usually the category A means you need to be more outstanding, like you have extraordinary skill, like they need you. You are like excellent skill. Like so, L1A is more for like executive level in the company or the high managed level in the company, and the L1B is more for professional worker like engineer or skilled workers. So L1A will corresponding to the EB1, and the L1B is corresponding to the EB2. Sorry, that's EB2. So this is just the skill level. Like one say L1A or EB1 is more like what I heard a joke is you need to be on the newspaper or some magazine or even on the TV. They give you some interview on the TV. That's how demonstrate how outstanding you are. Like maybe you are a very famous dancer, or you are like win the Nobel Prize or something corresponding the experience. And L1B or EB2 is just more for our professional engineer, like you have a licensed civil structure or mechanical engineer.
I think Eric raised his hand. He probably want to follow up with his question. So Eric.
Hello, Shawn.
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Let me introduce a little about my background first. Now I work for a Denmark company and I build offshore wind farm. And after I finish this project, I'm going to relocate to Denmark on May. And maybe I just talked with my line manager last week. I may have a chance to do a project, to do the design phase project in US. We have 6 new offshore wind farm project in the East Coast line in US. So my question is, maybe I have a contract with the Denmark host company, but I will go there to do the design phase for 1.5 years. And after the design phase is finished, I might have a chance to go to United States to do the construction phase. And my question is, if I relocate from Denmark to US, that means I use the L1 or L2 visa if I am as a power engineer. And yes. So my question is, if I relocate to US after 1.5 years or 2 years, then you got the L2 visa and you can start apply for your green card, something like that, or you have to wait a period of time?
No, you can apply green card immediately. So before his presentation, I actually talked with one of my friends. He is working in a Taiwan electronics company. So when he come to US, he used the L2 visa, and he basically negotiated with company. Once he come to US, he will start the green card process. I will suggest you talk to your company. That will be part of one of your contract term. Like they will apply green card immediately after you come to US. So don't waste any time. Don't go to the H1B or anything.
So if I use the L2 visa to go to United States, I can just start my if
Yeah,
the company
green
say
card.
okay, then I can start my green card application process at the same time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Thank you.
All right, so let's go to the next one. It's asked by YTY. The question is, as a fresh graduate in the US, how to get H-1B visa or even green card effectively in the first job? Thank you for your wonderful presentation.
Hi, YT. I think this is all the negotiate with your company when you get the job. So my experience when I interview and when I choose the company, I do ask them, do they provide the H-1B or green card in the future? Their answer is depend on your performance. I mean, all the company will say this for sure, but at least they will tell you, oh yeah, we will sponsor you H-1B and green card, or some company basically don't sponsor you H-1B and green card. So be careful picking the company like you are working for. And also the time is important. As I say, when the economy is going good, like everyone, like at this time, economy is really hot. And every company try to hire people. It's easier to get this this condition or this request into your contract to say they will sponsor you. Then the rest really depends on your performance and how. I think that most of the good company they want to keep the good people, so they will sponsor you the H-1B and the green card. So negotiate this term what you need when you apply the job, when you get an interview, especially when you try to pick which company you are going to work with. That's very important.
Okay, so I also want to share something as a hiring manager. So usually, as Shawn mentioned, that at this time the market is so hot that most of the company will provide H-1B, but then the green card application will depend on how your performance in your H-1B. So it probably won't be able to negotiate on when you're talking about landing your first job. But then usually H-1B is very possible now in the US. All right. So the next question is from Beth. So the question is, I will just read it out loud. Shawn, thanks for the amazing presentation. How can you tell if a company is willing to sponsor you working visa or even a green card in the interview? My friend was let go by his company right before the H-1B application process started. Now he is looking for a next employer who will provide his sponsorship. Is there any other option he has to keep working in the United States?
Yeah, it's really difficult to tell if your employer will keep the promise until you get all this one. I think the only thing is you can ask directly if your company sponsor. And I think in the last month, our US branch, you can look at the company record. If you see some company, I think there is a website. You can go to the website to check the US. I think it's the U.S. Custom Department, the Immigration Department. You can see if there is any history, the company sponsor for the H-1B and the green card. I think that's a good way to check if this company will keep them promise. But as Jay say, a lot of things is tied to your performance. So you can only see if they do this sponsor to other people, but it's not a guarantee you will get the sponsor to the end. It's just like my example. We get everything apply and everything already get approved and submit, and every fee already paid. But I still get a let go during the middle of the process. Even only have 6 months left. Like we don't think it. I think Jay know that Jay and me is a good friend. I mean. He come to my place. We kind of drinking that time. Like, yeah, this is really you don't expect. So it's very hard to see if you can finish the process. So like I would suggest, check the company record and see if they sponsor other people before, and talk to a company if you can shorten the process as soon as possible. Because everything can happen. Sometimes it's not a company want you go, but they don't have they lose some project or the economy turned down very quickly. There's no one want to see that. So just get prepared.
Okay, so the next question is from, I think, Hu Peiwen. Thanks for the presentation. Would like to ask, what would be the biggest concern for sponsoring H1B or PR from a company standpoint. Let's say, what would be a recommended strategy for the employee to bring up the topic for asking sponsorship from the company? The topic especially aiming for employee already from H1B to PR.
Hi, Pei-Wen, you are a graduate from the Berkeley, right? I think we met one time.
Yeah. Hi, Shawn. Nice to meet you
Hi,
again.
nice to see you again.
Yeah. Appreciate that. Yeah.
Yeah, the biggest concern is H1B or the green card is big some cost, right? It's not a big money, but it's still probably the 10,000 or something, and they don't want to sponsor you and then lose you. So there is something. One, your performance need to be. They think they are worth to sponsor you. Like it's very tied to your performance for sure. The other one is like they don't want to invest in you, and then they don't get the good return. So, but how do you talk to your employee? I think it's you don't. I don't think you need to worry about how to talk. You should straightly directly talk to them like you need a sponsor, because all the employee knows, all the foreigner want to get have a sponsorship, which apply for their H1B or permanent employee. I don't think this is any forbidden issue to talk. You should talk to them as early as possible. Tell them you have this intention. Yeah, but the only concern is like when you start get a job, if that's not a very stable in the beginning, you might be hold for a few months. But I don't suggest like you don't. I think you should talk to them like after 6 months you are on board and they start to trust you, and you can start talking about this sponsorship. And what do they think? Like I talk with my employer and they say, okay, yeah, we want to use up to the 29 months for the OPT. Then we do the H1B and start with H1B. We will start with a green card at the same time. So that's a company want to observe you for this time of period. Some company, I think WSP, someone talked last month, they say you can start with your green card with OPT. Some company do this one. So it's all about the negotiation and discussion. How is the company the strategy? This is very this should be very clear and very you don't need to really worry about like this will impact anything about your work.
Yeah, very thanks for the explanation. And my background, just to give a briefly introduction of my background. So now I work with a local company in Los Angeles, and right now I'm on H1B status. So actually I've been working in this company for 2 years, as you know, graduated from Berkeley, so 1 year OPT, and then almost 1 year for H1B. And I'm actually will be on an annual performance evaluation in this July. So I was wondering, should I bring this up? And then I told my manager first, and then if they have some hesitate, because I know this process should better to start as early as possible. If I'm willing, to take some part of the lawyer fee, would that will they be more happily to sponsor that? Or is that only because of money, or they afraid you leave the company or something like that? But because I know there are a lot more senior or more experienced engineers in my company comparing to me as a foreigner. I mean, as a United States citizen, they don't need sponsorship. So I don't know what would be my chips when negotiating with the company. I already have a 2 years performance. They say it's good enough, but they still have some concern. So I sometimes I want to have some bargain chips with them, so I can provide it.
I think I want to share something. So basically, you can just discuss it with your manager. Usually, U.S. company that they're very transparent. And then, for example, you use H1B for 1 year, right? So technically, you still have 5 years H1B that you can use. So actually, there's two parts. The one thing is you have to really think that you want to apply for green card. The second one, I think it's depend on what you just mentioned. You can all mention that to your managers, that what's their concern. He will tell you his concern very transparent. It's either the money or I don't think he won't keep you, because as Shawn mentioned, even H1B you can switch the company.
Yep.
So he won't be able to tie you, and then it's just that you need to remind, I think most of the time you need to remind him that applying for green card take more than, well, as Shawn mentioned, average 3 years or something. So if they feel you are good, and then you do feel that you tell them that you do feel that you want to with this company, and then what's the company's the option for sponsoring the green card. So that he will tell you that he will fully sponsor you, or he sponsor you with the documentation, but you need to pay the lawyer fee, or I mean, he will just lay out all the options, and then you can have a discussion mutually.
Yeah, does the company have sponsor anyone for green card before, or you will be the first one?
I've seen 2 cases in the history for
Okay.
PR. Yeah.
Yeah, so you might can understand. The one is if a company have some policy, if that's a company policy, you will difficult to change the policy. So first you need I think you will understand, check the what is the check with HR. And if you don't want to directly talk to your manager, you can check with HR, see what is the company's policy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think that's most easy, because when I had my application, we don't have policy. I'm the first one. Actually, we set the policy together.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So if there's a policy, they just follow the policy. And I think as recent the market is very hot now. Everyone try to get a good engineer. I will think now is a good time to do a negotiate.
Cool. That would be very helpful. Thank you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
All right. So as there's no more question in the chat box, so it's open to the whole audience. Please raise your hand.
A minor reminder: getting a green card is not the end of the story. You have to keep in mind, having a green card, it really has some issues or commitment. If you, well, long story short, you need to get your U.S. citizen in order to get all the money back when you retire. Thank you for the opportunity, meeting everybody, and Shawn, great presentation and nice story. I believe, Beth, you have some updates on the next activities. And well, I'm not working for a company. My agency is looking for employees. He or she apply the job will work directly under my supervision. So please find your friends who are U.S. citizen, come to work for our agency. Thank you.
So thank you, Shawn, for the amazing presentation, and thank you for all the answer to the questions. So next month, April, we'll have Henry. He's in Japan. He's working for a consultancy in Japan for over 10 years, and he's been living in Tokyo for 10 years now. So his company, basically they get cases overseas. So yesterday I have a phone conversation with him, and he was on a business travel to Eastern European country, very close to Ukraine. I don't remember the name of his yeah, I don't remember the country's name, but he was there, and he's
Bosnia.
Oh yeah, Bosnia. Thank you, Edward. So we have a great chat. I believe he has a great experience to share, and he's very young, and he's able to survive in the Japanese culture. And well, you don't even have to excel in English. You have to excel Japanese too, because Japanese culture is very brutal. Once they know you understand Japanese well, they can be very harsh on you. So next month, his topic will be his working experience in a Japanese consultancy company. I believe this will bring a whole new different world to our OTEA, into our OTEA audience, because the culture and how they do business is totally different from US. So it was an eye-opening chat with him. So and Edward will be his moderator. So look forward to that. Okay. Thank you.
All right, Jasmine. So now it's 1 minute after the clock. So we switch mode now.
Well, maybe I play the music again. Okay.